Let's talk a little bit about Elektra by Jennifer Saint. So let's start up with the author. Jennifer Saint read classical studies, it says here, at King's College London, just basing it off what the book says. And this is her second novel, and she currently teaches English. So it supposedly, it is a retelling of the Iliad from the perspective of Elektra, the daughter of Agamemnon and Clytemnestra, there we go, I'm so bad with names. And it's also, like Elektra we're following Cassandra, which is one of the princesses of Troy. She's a, what's called priest of Apollo, and then we have Clytemnestra herself, the wife of Agamemnon. So it's a retelling of the Iliad story from their perspective instead of the classical Achilles point of view and Paris. Let me just switch over here. What I actually found out after reading the book is there is a drama called Elektra by Euripides, who tells the story after the Trojan War about how Elektra and her brother Orestes is getting revenge for the murder of Agamemnon, which, spoiler alert, this book also includes. So this is a retelling of both the Iliad and the Elektra play from Euripides, and I assume that's why the title of the book is Elektra, because she is kind of the main character. However, and I'm going to say that right away, it is a little confusing. It is called Elektra when you have 3 POV main characters, and you kind of have to accept that. But I mean, knowing that now, it does make a lot more sense what's going to happen, that it goes further than the Iliad itself, but still, I don't know. But let's get to the cover, and then we'll get to the story. Now, the cover itself is beautiful. I think it's an amazing, beautiful, artistic cover, and it fits the stylized Greek mythology it's trying to tell. On the other hand, because I've had a discussion with my girlfriend and kind of come up with those 2 criteria. So, for me, for a book to be good, sorry about that. So there's 2 criteria for a book cover to be good. The first one, and that's kind of the simplest one, it has to make me get interested in the story, have me ask questions. The second of all is that the cover has to match the story. And it kind of does and kind of doesn't. Like, we have reference here to a Trojan horse. We have Elektra here plotting her revenge with the sword she got from Agamemnon. So it kind of fits. There's a lot of small details here and there. But I feel like the dress, which has a lot of highlighting going on. Let me see if I can show it. As you can see, there's a lot of highlights on the dress. I can't see how that's relevant to the story other than just being Greek. Or Crete or whatever. So it's kind of about it, but I mean, it looks beautiful. It's wonderful cover, so it fits that. It was the cover that made me pick it up. Other than my interest for Greek mythology, the cover definitely piqued my interest, and for that, it kind of gets 1.5 point out of the 2 possible. So it's not a bad cover. Let's talk about the book. It feels weird reading a story so well known as this one is, like the Iliad and I guess Elektra, but at first here the Iliad. I also just feel slightly off. We get an interesting perspective we normally don't get. We get usually Greek stories are told from the third person omniscient, at least from the versions I've read, and that's fine and all, we're told how the gods look and all that. But here we are in first person, locked to characters, and we only know what they know. And that's interesting because it gives us the possibility of really great insight into Greek culture, at least ancient Greek culture. And at first when reading this book, I was afraid it would be very feministic, especially because the book is, like when you read on Goodreads and all that, people talk about it being a feministic book. So I was very afraid of the overly feministic hate on men and all that part. But that's not the case, actually. Saint is doing a wonderful job just keeping it historical and to the myth. The only feministic point is just the POV. And I mean, that's just an interesting aspect to take on a story so well known. Now, the story itself is actually great. It's super interesting to learn so much about Agamemnon's past. Usually just hear about him being an arrogant king towards the gods, being arrogant towards the gods, being arrogant king, all that stuff. But here we see it and we learn how he became king. And also, this is just a giant family drama, being Helen's sister is one of our main characters, along with her daughter Elektra, while inside Troy, we have Cassandra who's touched by Apollo, but no one believes it. I don't know, it's all fun and intriguing, it's just a giant family drama, and, it's so far it's really, really funny, and yeah, she's doing an interesting thing with having another view than we normally get, and for that I applaud Saint. The further I get in this story, the deeper I want. I wish Saint would spend more time on Greek philosophy and ethics with this war. It really just feels too shallow for me. On the other hand, I do understand why Saint can't go too in depth since there is the original myth and story to respect here. But still, like Clytemnestra have spent more time debating the killing of Agamemnon and discuss what would happen to Mycenae. Well, sorry, she hasn't done that. I want her to have read my script wrong. I want her to spend more time debating that and what's gonna happen. And again, I know we need to respect the source material, but I would still like some more discussion about the horse before just accepting it. It just seems so easy that they accept it as an offering. I know in the original, they did accept it right away. But here, since the secondary characters are the main characters, maybe have them show a little more doubt. At least up until the season egg attacks. There is a little doubt showing, but it's so little. Spend more time. Like, it can still just, in universe, last 2 minutes or whatever. But dedicate multiple pages to kinda the debate going on. Finally, there's the war itself. I think Saint is just a little too lightly over it. I would like for more battles to break up the pacing, but also more talk about how the war is actually going. We get a 10-year time skip, and then the war's over. Just give me a little more about how the Greeks have tried to take Troy, how the Trojans have defended the city. Give me more Paris and Achilles. Hey, just give me more. We have characters at least close to Paris. We have Cassandra. Maybe have Paris go ask the gods if he's doing the right thing. Have him doubt himself. Maybe show us how the Trojans are struggling with food. Talk about that. How the feast the king is holding, how they're getting more and more scrawny. Maybe have us, see how the Greeks have their camp, because they can't write us out how they're basically living off what they can fish, and how that's not really that good for 10 years. So far for me, the book just screams it needed more details, and it's not really hooking me in that much, but I mean, maybe it will. So Clytemnestra finally gets her revenge. It was really anticlimactic. I kind of hoped there would be more going on. Maybe not around the murder, maybe not about the murder itself, because the murder itself was fine, but around it, maybe a little more detail about how they planned and rehearsed everything, how they tried to keep it a secret from people who support Agamemnon, etc. But no, we're told, not shown, how they had prepared everything. And it really feels like a lot of telling and not showing is going on in this book. Saint told us that how they're gonna put out the banners to walk on and all that stuff, how they rehearsed that, how they prepared who's going where and all. But why not just show us instead of tell us they did? Spend time where Clytemnestra and I don't even remember the dude's name, the Agamemnon's cousin or whatever he is, how they are discussing and planning out all the details. The story of Cassandra ending is kinda sad to me, given I thought she was the most interesting of the three main characters. But yet again, also makes sense, and the source material, all that. I like Cassandra. I thought her story was by far the most interesting and most dynamic. However, I did actually like the scene where she was killed. I thought it was well done, and there was a good amount of ethics discussion going on it within characters all the same, because a huge discussion: was it worth it to kill her? Is that a mercy killing, or what is it? And I like that. Elektra, however, is a bit much one note to me. She kind of reminds me of her mom in that point. Everything is about how Orestes has never met his dad, or how it was 10 years ago she last saw him, and I do, however, enjoy it when she talks to her mom. The conversations are great, and you can really feel the hate and suffering that Elektra's feeling. But yeah, let's get to the final section and see where this book is going. It's kind of funny. This is probably the best part of this, the second half of the book. Clytemnestra and Elektra both feeling like real three-dimensional people now. Before they were one note. Now they're like interesting. Things are going on. I think writing the book in first person is in theory a great choice. The execution isn't. I think a lot of telling is happening, and it saddens me since the story is one of the greatest out there, and there's so much potential. The ending is weird to me. We are in the head of Elektra, yet we're never told how she starts to like Pylades. I don't know, it's just kind of weird to me. We're in the head of the main character, yet we don't know how she fell in love with one of the other characters. And the ending is the retelling of Elektra by Euripides. I didn't know that story. And I don't know how much Saint cut away, but I felt like it was way too fast paced. I don't know, I think it was just... the plan was great. The plan was just classic Greek tragedy story, you know. It was simple and it worked to the strength of knowledge. It was maybe a little too simple, but it didn't go exactly as planned, and I don't know. I liked that. I liked how we then saw them adapt. But I would have liked more. Maybe spend more time Orestes Pylades living with Georgios and Elektra, you know, seeing how they turn around. And maybe just a little bit more of the like a prologue, or not prologue, a epilogue. I don't know. I feel like the book was just a little too fast in the end, and it was still the best part. Whoops. Anyways, let's get to the conclusion, since now we got interrupted by my phone. Yeah, I'm keeping it in. Alright, one phone call later, let's get to the conclusion. I'll get started on this conclusion since we are in it. Should you read this book? No, I don't think so. I think there are better retellings of the Iliad out there. I also presume there are probably better retellings of the Elektra play. If not, then I guess this is the best book, or else just find a copy of the original, like in translated form. I think you would be better off. I think Saint is doing something interesting. I think she's trying for something we don't see often. I think most of the way you can feel she's on the right track. I just think this book needed, I think, just a better editor, or better readers, because I feel like this book just... I mean, I read a review on Goodreads how it was over-edited. I actually like to argue it's under-edited. I feel like a good editor would probably write up and be like, you need more. If you're gonna rewrite a historical classic, you need to bring something new to the table. And I don't feel like Saint did. I think in theory, if I pitched the idea for somebody, they would be like, oh yeah, that's a new and intriguing idea and way to do it. But, however, what I do want to say is the book itself is a beauty. Like, if you just wanted to have on your bookshelf because it looked beautiful, absolutely. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think you should read this book if you want to have the retelling of the Iliad or the play of Elektra. But it was a nice try. It was a good idea, and I hope she writes more novels, because I feel like she is on the way to do something great. At least she has great ideas. It's just the execution.